Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Friday.
Hello.
What's happening, beautiful people? It is Friday. That means pretty much nothing to any entrepreneur, right? Because every day, every day in the entrepreneur world, you get to make it a Friday if you want to. It's up to you. But in the work world, Fridays are TGIF, right? Everybody lives for the weekend. So we're going to talk a little bit. Obviously, today is mindset. So we'll talk a little bit about mindset. We're going to talk about breakthroughs. We're going to talk about how to become unstoppable. We're going to talk about definites of purpose today and a couple other cool things. So we got excited stuff, some exciting stuff to share with you guys. I want to get your feedback on a couple things. And as you know, we've opened up this Bill Korman's Mindset Revolution. We've opened it up to anybody, so they don't have to be part of our company. If it's somebody you're talking to, some of your family, anybody, spouse, friend, you think could benefit from being part of this journey with us, the revolution, right, of fixing our mindset, getting our mindset fixed on exactly what God's called us in our purpose, instead of just reacting to circumstances, right, that are happening in our lives. So I'm super excited for today and to go walk on this journey. I'm in the process. I don't know what happened, but my computer, even though I told it not to restart, to download the update, it did it anyway. So I got about a minute or two left on that. So because I've got an awesome video / audio. So it's an audio, but there's some things you'll see flashing on the screen from a perspective of the conversation and the text on the screen. So I'll share that here in a second. But what I wanted to do is Kurt and I were just talking. We're just on an appointment. And he was sharing with me that he's been using tools that we've been going over. He's been kicking butt and taking names when it comes to getting his niche set up. And he's been utilizing all the stuff we've been talking about from the Mindset Revolution, from other trainings and stuff we've done. So I'd like Kurt to share for a few minutes on what's been going on in his life and what was some cool stuff he and I talked about earlier.
Sure. Thanks, Bill. Just one thing I think I shared earlier about this. I'm making a point to make it known what I do, who I serve, etc. So I've got posts to social media going out every single day about sandwich generation. I kind of have it all automated thanks to a video that Dr. Crane shared during the P66 training, which I took and kind of ran with, and how to automate this thing. I kind of took what was in that video on YouTube and put it on steroids and built it to my niche. So instead of using, I think that one, you needed a spreadsheet of articles that it wrote. So I just took that out of there and said, okay, I don't have the article list. So let's just every time write something dynamically about the sandwich generation, don't repeat it, and everything kind of generates images, etc. I'm still tweaking my images because I'm not happy about them, but right now they're good for now and all that. But one of the things I wanted to share with everybody, and I'm sure probably many of you have had this similar experience, is it's actually a call I received this morning. I received a call on my phone this morning. It said spam. I don't know about all of you. I'm sure you get 5, 6, 8, 15 spam calls a day. I just get tired of them some days, and I'm just decided I'm going to start answering, and I'm just going to start yelling at people because I'm tired of them. I was just kind of in that mood. I was going to say, hey, I know the business. I did not give you I had it all planned in my head. I didn't give you the right to call me. If you keep calling me, I'm going to report you to the FCC. I know I can do this. I live this life. I've been, people threaten me, so I can do it to you. Anyways, I started talking to this guy, and it turns out that somehow he had gotten my name off a list that I'm interested in getting health insurance coverage in the state of Maryland. I don't know how that is, but anyways, he was basically a health insurance agent, independent health insurance agent, cold calling me to sell me health insurance. And I just went and said, no, I've got health insurance. I don't want it. I don't know how I got on your list. Please remove me. And anyways, we just kind of got chatting, because I kind of said, I know your life, and I forgot how we got through this. And I said, oh, by the way, I'm a life insurance agent, so I kind of fully understand. Oh, that's interesting. He said, hey, by the way, since I've got you on this call, and we're actually having a conversation, could I ask you a question? I'm like, of course. So he said, I got a call a week ago or so, a spam call, a cold market call, somebody calling him up and saying, hey, by the way, if you sign up and get life insurance for me, it can help reduce your taxes because you can write your premiums off on your taxes. He said, is this true? And I said, no. I said, I wish I could tell you that, but you can't reduce your taxes with life insurance premiums in most cases. I said, yes, there are some corner cases you can do it, but the average person can't do it. But in kind of in my mind, I started thinking, hey, he's talking about taxes. I said, hey, do you know that I actually have access to a way where we can help you show you a way where legally you don't have to pay your taxes? Oh, really? That's interesting. What's this about? He said, I may have some friends who'd be interested in this as well. And I said, well, we've got a presentation every Thursday night about it. I'd be more than happy to send the connection. Turns out that the guy I'm talking to is actually 31, has got into this, has basically every single license under the sun except life insurance. He's got his variable market. He's got his health license. I think he was doing real estate. He's trying to do stuff. And he's like, yeah, it's kind of interesting how we get into things that we don't plan. And I kind of, shared in my story. And he's like, I really shouldn't stay on this call any longer, but this is interesting. Anyways, I got his name and number and I sent him all the information about Wealth Guaranteed. So hopefully he's going to hop on Thursday. And I said, by the way, if you ever want to consider getting your life insurance license, let me know. We're not hiring non-licensed agents right now, but we may be considering that in about a month or two. Oh, cool. Well, thanks. So anyways, I kind of spun a cold spam call into a possible referral lead for Wealth Guaranteed. He says he may know some people who would be interested in that. At the same time, then he also may be a possible partner down the road coming on board as an agent. So as I think Michael's done this as well. You just take the call and just kind of go with it, and I just kind of showed some empathy because we've all been on the other side of the thing, cold calling leads, and we know what it's like. And I kind of even joked with them like, hey, I know you get yelled at and screamed at every single day because I do too. So have a good day and good luck. But just kind of keeping open what we do. And just doing that, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do. I was at the post office the other day talking to the guy, going back and forth, and somehow I just mentioned I'm a life insurance agent. I've talked to the guy a dozen times, but now he knows. I don't know if it'll ever go anyplace, but I also turned out that the guy at the post office I found out used to work at a bank and do mortgages. So I never knew that about him, but now he knows about me and I know about him. So we'll kind of see how it goes, because I was kind of joking as they kind of go through the whole little saying, if your package has this or your package has this or whatever. And he's like, I said, I bet you recite that in your sleep. He's like, yeah, I actually do. And I started using it on telemarketers when they call me and just say that. And nobody's ever said a word back to me. And I'm like, yeah, I understand why, I said, maybe I should do this. I'm a life insurance agent. Maybe I should just start, doing the same thing about selling them life insurance and see what they do. And we kind of chuckled about it and went our own way. But, it's like I said, don't keep it a secret what you do. Bring it up in normal conversations. I'm not getting in people's faces and say, I sell life insurance. Can we meet? Just share what we do and have fun with it, and just kind of share it. And you never know where it's going to lead, or you don't know who's overhearing your conversation. So that's what I wanted to share. Like I said, mentioned to Bill, I had some cool stories to share that, might bring some smiles to faces, because I know it brought smiles to mine. So.
Very powerful. Oh my goodness. So guys, see, you never know, right? You never know. We talk.
Not sure where Bill went.
All right. Can you guys see me? Hear me?
We can now. And you're actually zooming in again with your camera. So.
There we go. Saying something about USB devices. Let me close this out here so I can see you guys.
Flying around on the drone?
Yeah.
He's flying around in his Corvette.
What's going on with this USB? I'm going to keep the camera off for a second to see if that does anything. And so, yeah, so the idea behind the idea behind what Kurt was talking about is that you have to be present in a moment, right? There has to be an opportunity to be present in a moment for how we show up each and every single day, right? And most of us, the problem that we experience, all of us do, and until you make that breakthrough, is that we allow circumstances to control what we do, right? Or how we react, or when things happen, we allow those things to debilitate us, and they continue on. They permeate, week, day after day, week after week. And, some people, that you guys well heard of the Hatfields and McCoys, right? Some of these things continue on for generations, right? It's passed on from one generation to the next. And somebody has to say, you know what, enough's enough. I'm going to break the cycle. And that comes from being present, right? Not allowing, being deliberate about how we live our lives, and not about circumstances that exist in the in the daily life, right? Because most of us are operating based on, if we have a good day and nothing goes wrong, we're good, right? Everything's great, smile on our face, everything's good. But if we have 2 or 3 or 1 or 2 things that go wrong in a day, we can see it, in how we show up, how we react, how the rest of the day goes. When people ask you, how are things going? Well, I'm okay, or crappy, or could be better, or and so the idea with this mindset revolution, this journey we're going on, is that you 100% in every fiber of your being, you feel blessed and highly favored. You feel like you're walking in your purpose, that whatever that calling is for you in your life, that you're walking in that calling, in that purpose. And so that is the journey we're going to go on together. So anybody have any questions for Kurt, or any follow-ups for him on that journey he just shared?
He mentioned about the wealth guarantee. Diane and I listened to that last night because I just had the feeling that you go out and start talking about taxes, religion, and politics will get you in trouble. So I was like, I don't know if I'm going to say anything to anybody about this or not. But I listened to that last night, and Diane listened to it too, and that was unbelievable. I mean, that was totally unbelievable. And I have one person that just on the top of my mind, I've been thinking about it even before last night. It's like, I'd like to talk to him about it, but I need to make sure that I have some idea. So I will definitely get this guy on a presentation that guy did last night, because that was just absolutely unbelievable. So I think what Kurt did, if we start turning around some of these yucky calls we get all day long, trying to sell us something, maybe we need to start doing reverse participation. So anyway, thanks.
All right. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right, we're going to see what happens here with technology. So got a lot of tech here, and seems to be causing some issues today, but we are going to work this out. So so Tony, I'm glad you and Diane got a chance to, it's literally transforming. We have clients that we've referred to them. They go into Thursday presentation. We have a client that is pulling, using another strategy we'll be talking about down the road, the all-in-one loan. He's doing 2 home equity lines of credit on properties he owns. He's taking the money out, and he's not worried about any of it on the tax side, because out of those promos, because he's already working with Wealth Guarantee, and he's already gone through the process in a final stage of becoming completely exempt from taxes on state and federal side. So what is he doing? He's putting that money into another strategy where he's going to guaranteed 4% interest per month. Guaranteed 4% interest per month, right? So again, we the tools we have, the things we do are unlike anything else anybody's offering in this space. So there's not a single life insurance agent in the in this country, I won't say on a planet, we'll be able to compete, right? And again, when you mix in this, right, not only are we out there with all the tools to help our agents and our clients, but we have a program like this, like a mindset revolution, because that's one of the things that, even if you work with a company that does a great job with training on products, right? One of the things they're not doing is helping their agents with breakthrough, because you can have the best leads in the world, the best tools, the best, technology, but if you're allowing your past, your baggage, those things to hold you back, it doesn't matter how much you have, right? It doesn't matter all the best leads in the world or the best technology. So I'm excited again for the journey we're going on. Kurt, thank you so much for sharing that with us today, because that's just another reminder about your journey and the commitments you made, and this position that you're in right now have a massive, massive explosion. Super, super excited for you. All right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to jump in. So this is Napoleon Hill Notes is an organization that I follow. What they've done is they've taken the Think and Grow Rich and broken it up into over 200 different areas. And they created audios of Napoleon Hill speaking on these topics, the power of amazing technology. And I followed their channel. They got over 34,000 subscribers on there. But I wanted to share my screen out and share with you guys. This is audio, but it's also a video, because you'll see the text flashing on the screen. So I want to play this for us. It's 20 minutes. So please stay engaged, and then we'll have a dialogue about it, about how does this hit you? Each of us on here, for those that will be listening to this in the future, I want you to, when you're listening to this, be in a place where you're not distracted, you're not driving, you're a place where you're quiet by yourself, and listen intently to what Napoleon Hill is saying about developing an unbreakable positive mental attitude. It's not some hocus pocus. It's not some thing you can magically do. It's something that has to be deliberate. So let me share my screen here. And let's go to this guy. Load this up. And let's see. Can you guys see the screen?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, here we go. Let's play this thing.
About your struggles, your failures, and your mental state.
What was that?
At first I couldn't hear, but now I can. Sorry.
All right. I just want to make sure I just shared out the sound, so we'll start it over.
I want you to listen to me very carefully, because what I'm about to say may challenge everything you believed about your struggles, your failures, and your mental state. There are two kinds of people in this world. Those who go through life defeated, tired, complaining, surviving one day at a time. And those who stand tall in the face of adversity, smile when others break, rise when others quit, and win. The difference: it is not intelligence, it is not luck, it is not education. It is what I call a positive mental attitude. And let me be clear, this is not just thinking good thoughts. This is not surface level optimism. This is not plastering a smile on your face when your soul is breaking. No, positive mental attitude is a spiritual power. It is the ability to see through the fog of difficulty and still act with faith, precision, and purpose. It is the only known antidote to failure, and it is the foundation of all lasting success. I spent over 25 years interviewing the most powerful men of our time: Carnegie, Ford, Edison, Rockefeller. Men who built empires not because life was easy, but because they developed this indestructible mindset. They did not fear failure. They invited it. They did not surrender to setbacks. They studied them. They did not collapse under pressure. They learned to transmute defeat into success. And so can you. But first, let me ask you something. What is controlling your mind today? Is it fear, doubt, self-pity, resentment? Or is it faith, purpose, gratitude, desire, because the mind does not remain neutral. It is always under the influence of something. If you do not direct it, the world will. If you do not master it, the devil will. That is a truth I discovered when I finally confronted my greatest enemy, myself. Listen to me now. Your mental attitude is the only thing over which you have complete, unchallenged, and unchallengeable control. You can control it if you wish. That truth will either set you free or offend your excuses. Because what you believe, you become. What you think about, you attract. What you dwell on, you eventually live out. You say, but I've tried to stay positive and life keeps hitting me. Then I ask you, what is your definiteness of purpose? Because no man can develop a strong mental attitude without a goal so burning, so consuming, so magnificent that even failure trembles in its presence. Show me a man without a purpose, and I'll show you a man who drifts. And the drifter, my friend, is always in the devil's control. But show me a man who knows what he wants, who wakes up with fire in his belly and vision in his mind, and I'll show you a man who cannot be broken. To develop an unbreakable, positive mental attitude, you must first decide exactly what you want. Believe without wavering that you will achieve it. Act daily in harmony with that belief. No excuses, no waiting for motivation, no depending on outside circumstances. Let me say something most will never tell you. The world does not owe you encouragement. The universe does not pause to comfort your weakness, but it will always reward definiteness backed by faith. When a man decides that he will not quit, that he will not surrender to negative thinking, and that his mind is his, not his enemy's, then something magical happens. He begins to attract what he needs. People appear. Opportunities emerge. Strength he never knew he had begins to flood him. And failure? Failure begins to fear him. But this transformation only begins when you understand this next secret. Negative thoughts are not visitors, they are invaders. If you tolerate them, they will take over your home, your mind. If you entertain them, they will eat your purpose from the inside. And if you let them linger, they will convince you to quit on the very thing God placed you here to achieve. So you must do what I call cosmic housekeeping. Take inventory of what you think. Monitor your inner speech. And when you catch your mind drifting toward fear, doubt, worry, resentment, stop it like you would a criminal at your door. Replace it with gratitude, with faith, with the voice of power that says, I was not born to be broken. I was not created to be weak. I am made of the same substance that built mountains, that formed galaxies, that breathes through the lungs of champions. Now let me address the biggest lie that keeps people weak. I'm just not a positive person. Rubbish. You were not born positive or negative. You were conditioned. Your environment trained you. Your experiences shaped you. But nothing is set in stone unless you let it be. What has been learned can be unlearned. What has been programmed can be rewritten. The key is repetition. You become what you repeatedly do. You believe what you repeatedly say, and your attitude will reflect the dominant thoughts you entertain over time. So if you want to develop an unbreakable mental attitude, you must start with this. Control your input. Feed your mind daily with faith, courage, and truth. Speak power even when you feel pain. Read the words of greatness until they burn inside you. There is no shortcut. There is no hack. But there is a path. And it begins with one decision, that no matter what life throws at you, your attitude is yours. Not your enemies. Not your critics. Not your pasts. Yours. And that, my friend, is the beginning of power. If you want to develop an unbreakable positive mental attitude, then you must understand the power of autosuggestion. What is autosuggestion? It is the method by which your subconscious mind becomes the soil for either weeds or fruit. Whatever you repeatedly say to yourself, whether truth or lie, your mind accepts, absorbs, and ultimately believes. Your success is always preceded by a conversation, not with someone else, but with yourself. Your inner dialogue is either an architect of greatness or a silent assassin of dreams. The man who rises daily and says, "I will win, I will persist, I will not be denied," begins to shape his reality through the sheer momentum of mental faith. The man who wakes up and says, "Nothing ever works for me, I'm tired, I can't do this," that man dies before he even leaves his bed. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But belief must be forged daily through repetition. It is not enough to hope once. You must condition the mind like a muscle daily, intentionally, ruthlessly. Take 5 minutes each morning to speak life into your purpose, not passively, not softly, with fire, with strength, with clarity. Say, "I am powerful beyond measure. My purpose burns stronger than my fear. I attract exactly what I need because I expect nothing less." You may not feel it at first. That's normal. The subconscious is not changed by feelings. It is changed by repetition with emotion. Say it again, and again, and again, until the voice of victory becomes louder than the voice of doubt. Now let's go deeper. An unbreakable attitude is also impossible without self-discipline. You cannot master your emotions if you cannot master your habits. You cannot hold a positive vibration if you are held captive by negative rituals. Discipline is the bridge between thought and reality. Without it, your good intentions are dreams, and your destiny is delayed. The men I studied, Carnegie, Hill, Edison, Schwab, they did not rise on talent alone. They rose because they governed themselves. They understood that the man who cannot control his thinking, his time, his appetites, is a slave in a world designed for kings. So I ask you, what do you tolerate that weakens your spirit? What distractions do you invite that delay your progress? What comforts do you cling to that rob your future? An unbreakable mental attitude is not born in comfort. It is born in discipline under pressure. It is forged when you say, "I will read instead of scroll. I will rise instead of sleep. I will speak power instead of complaint." Because every time you choose discipline over impulse, your inner strength grows. And every time you surrender to ease, your potential dies a little more. Now let's talk about perhaps the most vital truth I discovered after years of studying success and failure. Every adversity carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. If you truly believe that, you can never lose. You may bleed, you may fall, you may suffer, but you will never be broken, because you'll know this is not the end, it is the test before elevation. Look back on your own life. The greatest lessons didn't come in comfort, they came in collapse. The greatest clarity didn't come when things were easy, it came when the storm hit and you had to decide whether to drown or rise. So I say to you, develop the habit of expecting the good in the bad. Train your mind to say, "This pain is preparing me. This failure is redirecting me. This delay is protecting me." And what happens? You become unshakable, you become dangerous to defeat. Because life can't hurt a man who grows stronger every time he is hit. Now, let me reveal another core teaching from my life's work. You are never a victim of circumstance. You are only ever a victim of your response. Two men can face the same setback. One becomes bitter, the other becomes better. The difference? Mental attitude. When life slaps you across the face, you get to decide, will I curse it or will I bless it as the teacher that it is? When someone betrays you, you get to decide, will I become resentful or will I become wiser and stronger in boundaries? You cannot control what happens, but you always control what it becomes. This is the great secret of positive mental attitude. It doesn't remove difficulty, it redefines it. It doesn't stop the storm, it teaches you how to walk through it with purpose. Now let me warn you, there will be people who hate your mindset. They will mock your optimism. They will call you delusional, unrealistic, or naive. Ignore them. Most people are addicted to mediocrity. They've made a habit of hopelessness. They are threatened by anyone who dares to rise while they've made comfort with crawling. You must cut off mental infection at the source. Surround yourself only with those who speak life. Avoid those who feed your fear. Tell me who your enemies are, and I will tell you who you are becoming. But also, tell me who your friends are, and I will tell you the limits of your future. Environment is stronger than will. If you spend your time in darkness, don't expect your mind to shine. You must choose carefully what you allow to influence your attitude, because what enters your ears enters your spirit. Finally, let me leave you with this truth. You do not need permission to develop this power. You do not need a degree, a title, or approval. You need only one thing, a decision. A decision to own your thoughts. A decision to lead your mind instead of being led. A decision to become the kind of person that nothing can break because your attitude refuses to surrender. If you make that decision today, if you say, from this moment forward, I no longer rent my attitude to circumstance, I own it, I lead it, I protect it, then you are already halfway to greatness. Because the world bends to the will of those who stand tall in spirit even when the body is weary. Stand tall, my friend. Now, let us now finish this. You've made it this far. That tells me something about you. It tells me you're no longer content to merely survive. You want to master life, and mastery begins in the mind. The final layer of building an unbreakable positive mental attitude is this. You must have a chief definite aim. Without purpose, the mind drifts. Without a burning goal, the mind wanders like a leaf in the wind, pushed and pulled by fear, doubt, distraction, and weakness. You must anchor your mind to something greater than comfort. You must wake up every day with a reason so powerful, so vivid, so personal, that nothing can shake it out of you, not fear, not failure, not fatigue. Your definite chief aim is not just a goal, it is your identity in action. It is who you are becoming, directed by vision and sustained by obsession. Every man I ever studied who rose to greatness, every one had this. They didn't kind of want it, they didn't hope for it, they lived it. Their purpose was not something they did, it was something they became. Ask yourself, what do I want so badly that I am willing to suffer for it? What do I crave so deeply that I am willing to be misunderstood, ridiculed, doubted, and even alone to achieve it? What kind of life would make me feel that every breath I took was worth the pain it cost? Once you have that, burn it into your subconscious. Read it aloud morning and night. Feel it as already done. Speak it with emotion. Write it in stone, because vague desires produce vague results. But clarity commands the universe. And once you are clear, once your purpose is fixed in your mind like the North Star, your positive mental attitude will become not just your shield, but your sword. Now listen to me carefully. The man who has a purpose and protects his mental attitude becomes unstoppable. He may be delayed but never denied. He may fall but always rises. He may struggle but never retreats. Why? Because he understands that attitude is the hinge upon which the doors of destiny swing. Your attitude determines whether a failure becomes fuel or your finish, whether a loss becomes a lesson or a lifelong excuse, whether a hardship becomes your downfall or your rise. But you must protect that attitude like a warrior guards his sword. You must defend it from negative influence. This includes toxic people, poisonous media, and your own inner critic. Mental laziness. This includes gossip, self-pity, and any thought that lowers your energy. Victim thinking. No matter what life throws at you, take responsibility. Own it, shape it, rise from it. Never let another person or situation decide the meaning of your life. That power is yours alone. Now allow me to speak directly to your heart. As a man who spent his life studying the greats and lifting the forgotten, you are not here by accident. You were created with a purpose. You have something the world needs. Your very existence is proof that your destiny is real. But it will not manifest if your mind is filled with fear, self-doubt, and excuses. Your job is to cleanse your inner world, feed your mind the words of greatness, read biographies of giants, speak affirmations, take bold action, and above all, think thoughts that lift, expand, empower, and direct you forward. Every time you do, you grow. Every time you allow fear to control your mind, you shrink. Growth or decay, that is the choice, every single day. Now let me give you a rule that has never failed me. Act as if it were impossible to fail. I don't say this lightly. I say it because fear has stolen more dreams than failure ever could. The fear of failure keeps men small. The anticipation of defeat is often more powerful than defeat itself. But what happens if you remove the possibility of failure? What if you say, I cannot fail, I can only learn, I cannot lose, I can only adjust, I cannot break, I can only bend and bounce back stronger? That, my friend, is power. That is the seed of an unbreakable mind, because you no longer hesitate. You move, you speak, you create, you command, and in that commanding fear runs, doubt flees, and the world responds. Because confidence is magnetic, certainty is rare, and those who possess both become leaders by spirit, not just by title. Now, hear me well. No man ever succeeded alone, but no man succeeded who waited for others to believe in him first. You must believe when others laugh. You must stand when others sit. You must speak when others mock. You must lead, even if you are still becoming what you speak of, because the world will follow those who dare to be mentally invincible. So let me summarize what you now possess if you dare to live it. A mind that sees opportunity in every obstacle. A voice that speaks power into the soul daily. A purpose so clear, so consuming that fear has no room to breathe. A discipline so consistent that weakness becomes irrelevant. And a mindset so positive, so unshakable, that the gates of hell cannot stop your progress. This is not fantasy. This is the law. These principles are eternal. They work for Carnegie. They work for Edison. They work for Ford. And they will work for you if you work them. So the question is not, will they work? The question is, will you? Will you rise and claim your attitude daily? Will you speak with strength even when your circumstances are weak? Will you persist when everything in you wants to quit? Because if you do, then not only will you build success, you will build a life worth living, a life of depth, a life of greatness, a life that impacts generations long after your name is spoken. That is the power of an unbreakable, positive mental attitude. And it is yours now, if you decide. So I ask you as your guide, as your mentor, and as a man who gave his life to the study of success, will you decide? Because in that moment of decision, your destiny begins. And from this day forward, let your every thought, every word, every action declare to the world, I am unshakable, I am unstoppable, I am unbreakable. And so it is.
I'm unstoppable. I'm unshakable. How about that? So the question is, right? So, what are you going to do with what you just learned? We're gonna process that together here over the next 20 minutes. Can everybody see the screen? You guys, everybody know? Let me zoom in on this guy so you can see him. Anybody know who that guy is?
I'm not sure.
That's
Oh, who you're holding up? Yes.
from Lion King. Everybody know who that is? The monkey. His name is Rafiki, right? So why did I bring that up? Well, I've got something before we jump into this discussion. I want to play this for you real quick. so you guys can hear this, because this is important as well. Let me share my screen. You guys see the screen? All right, here we go. Check this out. Everybody pay attention. It's important because this goes directly into what we just listened from Napoleon Hill in one of, I believe, the best Disney movie ever made.
I know what I have to do, but going back means I'll have to face my past. I've been running from it for so long. Ow! Jeez, what was that for?
It doesn't matter. It's in the past.
Yeah, but it still hurts.
Oh, yes, the past can hurt. But the way I see it, you can either run from it or learn from it. Ah, you see? So what are you going to do?
There we go. So the past can hurt, right? So you can either run from it or you can learn from it. So that's the question, right? So I want to open up for dialogue. You guys know Rafiki. This is my personal motto that I live by, right? It doesn't matter. It's in the past. It doesn't matter. It's in the past, right? Rafiki, wisdom, right? From a Disney movie. Not the biggest fan of Disney lately in the last couple of years, but anyway, this movie been around for a long time. I think it's one of the greatest. This is, for me, a reminder that crap happens to all of us, right? And we, as Napoleon Hill just said, you can either or Rafiki said, you can either run away from it or learn from it. So what are your guys' thoughts about what we just heard?
I just like to have that on replay so I could just play it over and over and over and over. Awesome.
Absolutely. And that's what actually Napoleon Hill recommends, right? In the book, he talks about, the repetition over and over again and in a video. So the cool thing is it's being recorded and it will be in your BFL repository for all of our agents. And for those of you that are watching this on another platform and tapping into the Mindset Revolution, it'll be available on the Mindset Revolution platform, the YouTube channel, and the website, all that kind of cool stuff that you guys will have access to pretty soon. But so I want to hear some more. What are your guys' thoughts? Because I promise you, it ain't about technology. It ain't about leads. It ain't about money. It ain't about a new relationship. It's 100% about this, right? The nugget and your mindset. So what are your thoughts?
This is definitely an on-time word for me. Reason being is because a lot of the stuff that he was talking about, I read the book, and I've also been looking into some YouTube videos as well on Napoleon Hill and on the Think and Grow Rich mindset. And also it's been a on-time word for me because I'm just experiencing it right now in my life. Like there's been a lot of things that transpire within the last 5 years, and now I feel like God is pruning things out in my life and in my mindset, and just rewiring some things. This whole year has been a year of just rewiring, and so I'm just thankful for that. So this is on time for me.
That's powerful. Well, thank you for sharing that, and we're glad that the timing's all working out, because God's timing is always perfect. So I appreciate Kelvin, you sharing that. Anybody else like to get your thoughts?
It's difficult when you have a couple things go against you that were not of your making. Is pretty difficult. I mean, it's easy to talk about it, but it's difficult to put it behind you, and because then your mind starts saying, okay, well, here it comes again, here it comes again. So that's the hard thing about it, is to just basically, as he says, you can run from it or run towards it and conquer, but it is difficult because it's sitting back there just waiting to pop up again.
Absolutely. So Tony, you brought up a very valid point, because you can watch all the cool stuff, the Napoleon Hill stuff, the We got all the different motivation, as David Goggins says, motivation crap, but there's a lot of really good stuff out there, but none of it matters because unless we believe it, right? So you can say, buy all these books, you read the books, we go to the seminars, we listen to the podcasts, and like, wow, that's really cool. But if we don't believe it, right? And that's exactly it. So it's very hard for us, right? And the reason it's so hard for us is because we weren't born negative. We actually came out of the womb completely neutral to the world. We've been conditioned that when things happen and multiple things happen. So imagine if we had grown up, right, in an environment where our parents demonstrated that whenever something went wrong, they're like, okay, no big deal. It was meant to be that way, right? There's a lesson there. There's something we're supposed to. I mean, some people had that kind of environment. I didn't. 99% of us didn't, right? But imagine coming out of the womb from that point forward with an understanding that is okay. Whatever just happened is okay because it was supposed to happen. There's a lesson. There's a purpose. There's something to that. But what have we been? But as he said in the video, I just took some quick notes. It says we were not born negative. We have been conditioned. Right? We've been conditioned that is what to expect. We've been conditioned that that's supposed to be our reaction. When we saw our parents react to things that happened, guess what we did? We learned from that was what we were supposed to do. When somebody cut us off on the road, right? We knew that we were supposed to respond a certain way, right? Maybe give a little call sign or something, right? We learned those things, right? Because we were conditioned, right? And so and the interesting thing is that when he talks about, how do we subvert this, right? How do we go through the new, the reconditioning, the new programming that has to happen? He said, it's not a shortcut. It's not a hack. It's a path. Isn't that amazing to know that there's no magic formula here, but there's a pathway? If this was how we got to that point, right? And we know that if this road right here, okay, if we go alongside of it, we can look over all the time and say, okay, I was on that road. That road don't work. I don't like that road. I don't want to be there anymore. But this road is taking me towards where I want to go. And the sooner that we start to believe the stuff that are coming out of our mouth, as I'll quote Ben James, our Boca Grande, right? Our big mouth, that things, when we start to, so how do we believe that? How do we take the negativity and the bad stuff and the baggage we have? We have to commit to every single day, because as I've said on this mindset revolution over and over and over again, if science has proven the brain is a computer, right? And when we know that when computers have bad programming, first you got to find it, right? Where's the bad code? You identify it, then you reprogram it, right? You change the code. The human brain's the same thing. The problem is with that is that we live in a very cynical world and we live in a very immediate world. Like if you do affirmations for a week and nothing like magically changes, we go, oh, that crap doesn't work, right? If we commit to a positive mental attitude each and every morning when we start, but we have issues with our spouse, or something's happening at your job, or in your business, and we say, well, that's crap, it doesn't work, because every morning by the time I get to work or the job, it's already fallen apart. But it's that person that is committing to it every single day, to definite purpose, that makes that difference. And I love how he talks about unbreakable positive mental attitude comes from auto-suggestion, right? We've talked about affirmations over and over and over and over again. And I'm going to keep pounding. I'm going to keep hammering it. You know what? I'm going to stop when everybody on our team and everybody that watches this mindset revolution, these episodes, commit to an accountability of posting every single day, done, right? Because we have a lot of people on our team, and I'm in collab every single day. I'm in communities. And again, if you're watching the Mindset Revolution on another platform, you will have a place where you can go in, and done means that you've done your affirmations. You've read them out loud. We like you to do it twice a day, but start out once a day in the morning, right? We want you to read your affirmations you develop for yourself about the person that you are, not you're becoming. You are in the future tense. You are that person. You're unstoppable, unshakable, unbreakable, all those things. Those things are all part of your journey and where you're going, right? So
until we get everybody starting to do that, right? To where they're posting done. And again, I'm keep challenging our team to do it, because you may be doing it, but nobody knows it, and you're not accountable, right? You can say, well, I did it. Well, but you're not being accountable. We ask for, and the way that we train these brains to change is in a commitment to accountability, right? So if we're not accountable to posting every single day the done, and again, on other platforms, whatever, you guys will see, we actually have a community for you. Posting done, right? That's what you want. You want to post done every single day that you've done it. You've said your affirmations out loud in the morning and night. Because what happens if we don't do it? Right? If we're not saying it, we're not posting, we know what's happening, right? The enemy's working. The enemy's working on our past, all those failures that we had. The enemy's trying to convince us that those failures are define us, and that's all a lie. Failure is data, right? Failure is nothing more than data. Let's see. Got a couple other notes here that I made going through. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. How about that? What if you lived your life that that you couldn't fail? Imagine if we went after calling prospects knowing that we couldn't fail, right? We got a list of names and numbers. What if we went through the list of the people that are in our phone, our friends and family, with a mindset that we couldn't fail? Because it doesn't matter whether they answer. It doesn't matter if, they never pick up, they never call back. The only thing that matters is that we do it, that we get it done. We make the calls, we leave the voicemails, we send the text messages, we do the follow-ups. Imagine that would say, I'm going to keep doing this because there's no way for me to fail. Because I know if I contact enough people, if I talk to enough people, if I follow up enough, I'm going to experience the business that I've always wanted. I'm going to live. If we continue to do that in other things in our life, like our daily affirmations and all those kind of things, we're going to start to live the life that we've always wanted to live, because we're going after it with a mindset that you can't fail. The other question he asks is, what do you want so bad that you're willing to change, you're willing to sacrifice, and you're willing to suffer? We haven't talked about it from that perspective in a long, long time. I remember I talked with a group, and maybe at an event that we were at. It was I think it was a meeting after meeting, an event. Then that's the question I asked. I brought up the whole mindset. There's a story of this elevated spiritual person that supposedly had the answers to everything. It was a person alive, obviously below Jesus, and but from a wisdom perspective, this person was considered, and I think maybe it was even in the Buddhist religion, that this person was considered the person alive today with the most wisdom. So this guy traveled the whole world to find him. And he finally finds this guy, and he finds him on a beach. And he says, I've sought you for my entire life, and I finally found you. And the guy grabs him by the back of the neck, grabs him by the hair, and drags him into the water. Right. And then he pushes his head down, and he holds him underneath the water. And the guy said, well, this is it. I traveled my whole life and all over the world to find this guy. And now he's going to kill me. I'm going to die. And at the last second, literally before he's about to swallow water into his lungs and die, this spiritual leader, mentor, whatever you probably heard the story told 10 different ways. The guru. Yep, that's it. The guru. He pulls this up out of the water, and he said, what is wrong with you? Like, why would you do that to me? He goes, listen, you sought me out. You want the magic to success. He said, listen, here it is. When you want success as bad as you wanted that last breath, you'll have it. I'll let that sink in for a couple seconds. When you want success as bad as you wanted that last breath, or you wanted that air again, you'll have it. And that's all it is. There's no magic wand, right? There's no magic pill. There's no life hack to it. It's that. It's getting real with ourselves, that we know what we want so clear and we want it so bad, like you would want that last breath if you're being held underneath the water, then we will have it. And the last piece I'll share with you guys, and we'll have the last couple minutes.
Just
Go ahead,
if I
Kurt.
could jump in on that real quick, Bill.
Yeah,
If
absolutely.
anybody wants to watch that, that's actually known as the Guru story, and it's being very popularized by Eric Thomas. If you go out and to do Guru Eric Thomas, you can see the whole video and you can watch that over and over again. I've used that in a couple of my trainings as well, referencing that of just kind of mindset. And, you know, I don't want to derail you too much here, Bill, but you know, one thing where I've kind of gotten my mindset, you know, I don't know anybody's personal stories here. I know a few highlights. You know, I think everybody kind of, each person shares what they want other people to know, but you never really know everybody about somebody. And I've just gotten to the mindset now that, you know, I've been through a lot of crap. I don't know if it's crap to everybody else, but to me, it's been crap. And I have made it through every single piece of crap, and I'm not going to let it stop me now. And I just kind of have this mindset now, hey, I made it through these other things. This is little compared to the other crap I've been through, and I've survived every single bit of that. Why can't I survive this? And I've just made my mindset that I'm just going to go. And also, if there's any other geeks out there who are also Napoleon Hill fans, I actually found a Napoleon Hill GPT available that you can kind of use to ask whatever questions you want of Napoleon Hill. I can share that in the chat if anyone is interested.
Good.
It's free.
That's good.
That's powerful. Yeah, Kurt's putting together some really cool stuff we're going to showcase for you guys here in a couple, probably a week or so. Excellent. So Kurt, thank you for sharing that, because I heard that story over 20 years ago, right, from one of my mentors all the way back in the Amway business, and it stuck with me because, you know, over the journey of life, I don't think many of us actually get to that point where we've actually taken time to understand what did we want out of life so bad that we're willing to do that we want, that is equivalent to taking, you know, wanting that air so badly. The last part, I'm gonna leave you guys with this, and then we'll wrap up. Actually, unless you got a couple questions or thoughts. It says, Napoleon Hill said in that audio, it says, "You're not here by accident. You're here to do amazing things, and the world needs you. The world needs me. The world needs you. There's a reason why you're here. Do you know what that reason is? And if you don't, it's time to seek it. Right? It's time to ask God."
Can you get that copied?
Where you get where you seek it and you know it and you find your definites of purpose. Because as he said in the video, when you have we have a man or woman, okay, that knows who they are and what they are, and they have definites of purpose. They want that thing they're going after as bad as that the person wanted that breath of air to come up out of that water. He said, then it's impossible for you to fail. Okay. It's impossible to fail. When you want it that bad, and when you have definites of purpose, a man or woman who has definites of purpose cannot fail. They've eliminated the opinions of their family, their spouse, their friends, everybody around them, all the other small-minded people. We've eliminated them from the equation. It's not that we don't love them. It's that this thing that God laid on our heart, the God that laid on my heart, didn't give it to them. And they don't have dominion over that. They don't have the right or the authority to give me their opinion on it. They don't have the right or authority to make me feel bad or to put me down. The only thing they can do is they can come alongside of me and encourage me. And if they don't, they're out. Right? Not like you kick them out, but you don't seek them around, and you don't keep them around as you're in your flow going after the things that you want, because they're not aligned. And it's okay, because they have a different purpose. God gave them something else. He didn't give them the purpose he gave you and me on this journey that we're on. And there's nothing wrong with that. But too many of us today want to please everybody else around it, and then we're missing the point. Like that magic thing that we're looking for is not magic. It's right in front of us every single day. We have the ability to reach out and grab it and take it. But we're allowing those outside influences, our baggage, our fears, to hold us back. So today, my challenge as we wrap up is go and spend some time alone and identify your definites of purpose, right? What is it you feel you're called to? What is it you want so bad out of life that you're willing to change, go through, hell and back, sacrifice and suffer to get it. When you identify that, I promise you'll be unstoppable. Any last minute thoughts or questions as we're wrapped up here on time? All right. Well, have an amazing weekend. Obviously, for our team, we'll see you guys tomorrow. And for those of you that are coming back watching this video, please take time, watch that the Napoleon Hill part in private, with no distraction, nothing disturbing you, so you have time to let it soak in and be part of it. And then we want you guys to win. And so we hopefully got some value out of this episode, the dialogue, what people are sharing on here, and you take this and you run with it, right? Don't let it sit idle. Take it and run with it. Have an amazing day. Take care. God bless to your success.